Welcome. Namaste, beautiful souls. Welcome back to this breathing series. And I think I'm going to actually begin to transition this series to include a little bit more movement. And it's going to depend on a few things that I'm juggling right now. But today I want to start to introduce this idea of incorporating breath with movement and how that can support your wellness and how it can support a deeper connection of the relationship between breath and movement. Okay, and this might seem silly to some people, but it's so important that we start to breathe and move in alignment. A lot of the time, we hold breath, we carry tension in the body, and we try to move through that. It's really interesting as a yoga teacher, as a health practitioner, observing people how they don't move with breath. And so that's what I'm going to address today. But first of all, good morning, Clevis. I'd like to bring you into alignment and let this start to become quite natural. It's quite a pile of books beside me here. In that, every time you sit, every time you lie down, even when you're standing, you take a moment to find alignment, to be aware of how important alignment is to your accessibility to breath. And if you are not aligned, then breath is more difficult. So, if you are bending forward, if you are leaning forward to pick something up, it's deeper to breathe. It's harder to breathe more deeply. And in subtle ways, it is really, it's so freeing to bring the body into alignment. This is not about, good posture. That is such that's about the superficiality of it. What we're doing here is something much deeper and much more connected. If you haven't already done so, close your eyes and begin to go through the cues I've been repeating every single week, depending on the position you are in. For most people, a small adjustment of the low back will be necessary. If you're on your back, bring the soles of the feet to the bed or to the mat. Raise your hips up, raise your hips up, shift your pelvis forward. If you're in your chair, realign your bottom, your knees, so you feel like, yeah, I'm not sitting with my butt sticking back with this big gap in my low back. You may want to put a pillow supporting your low back. Bring your shoulders over your hips. Feel the length through your neck. Come to the breath in your nose. Let's go through the warm-up for the alternate nostril breathing. Breathing fully, both nostrils drawing the air up and down the inverted V shape from the nostrils to the eyebrow center. Nice and slow. When you feel ready, you can do 5 times left side. And just as a reminder, this can be done with or without a hand gesture. You may wish to close the right nostril. Keep a nice even pace so the length of the inhale matches the length of the exhale. And when you have exhaled, done your 5th exhale, then you're going to change sides and breathe 5 times. Right side only. And if you're feeling a little congested, you can try it without the hand, or you can place a fist underneath the armpit. And when you have completed 5 rounds on the right side, the second side, then do 5 more both sides. Notice any tension in your jaw, your tongue. Micro adjustments bring the body back into alignment. And then let's do 3 rounds of alternate nostril breathing. And you may or may not wish to bring a second and third finger to the third eye. Close the right nostril, and remember, this is at your pace. Find a count. Inhaling left, exhaling right. Inhaling. And exhaling. Your pace. If you've introduced the kumbhak, keep it nice and even. Just 5 rounds. And continue to adjust your alignment, supporting your breath practice. And when the 5th exhale leaves, the 5th round completes on the left side, you can lower your hand and return to 5 rounds both sides, and then return to your natural breath. And if your eyes are closed, you can gently open your eyes. Okay. So, what are the basic principles of movement and breath? Well, one is that when you restrict in the body or you constrict in the body, there is less air. So it would make sense that that is the exhale breath. So when you constrict the lungs, when you constrict any part of the body, that goes with the exhale breath because that helps to press air out. When you expand, you inhale. And when you constrict, you exhale. So that's one principle. When you are in completing a full movement, this could be a rotation. So, for example, if you're doing a wrist rotation, right, you're circling the wrists, then each rotation is going to have an inhale and an exhale. And depending on the part of the body, it might be important where the exhale is if the body is being restricted. But if I were doing wrist rotations, I would simply just inhale and exhale. One full breath cycle for each rotation. And the speed of your rotation will be determined by the length of your breath. So if your breath is short, then this is going to be a little bit faster. Okay, so another principle is that we always go in the opposite direction. So you're going to inhale and exhale. And another principle is that there is a few breaths of integration. So just pause. If you were doing the wrist rotations, rest your wrists, close your eyes, take your mind's eye just inside and feel the effects of that. When there is intention and attention to any movement, you will feel the prana more deeply. Okay, so it's quite extraordinary how little movements with more attention can bring tremendously healing benefits. Okay, so one of the things you can do to help relax at night is to create, if you have a hard time falling asleep, is to create tension and relaxation in the body. Okay, so and another thing too is that when you are doing this, you don't want to be holding your breath to a place where you feel uncomfortable. Okay, so breathe in and clench your fists. And when you're ready to exhale, open and soften your hands. You can add your shoulders, your face. Breathe in. And exhale. Soften your shoulders, your face, and your hands. Do that again. Lower your arms. Take a breath or two of integration. Notice other places in the body you may feel the effects of that awareness. Okay. Now, this time, let's do it again, but let's include some of the lower body. So as you breathe in, clench your fists, tighten up your legs, your feet, your face, your shoulders. Breathe in. When you're ready to exhale, then let everything go. The whole body. Breathe in. Bring awareness where you're able, tightening the legs, arms, shoulders. When you are ready to exhale, then you exhale and you release. And you lower your hands. Okay, so those are a couple things that you can practice with breath. Mindfulness is a really interesting part of this. I'm going to give you a couple more of those in just a moment, but I'm wanting to take a drink of water. So I want to do this mindfully. And one principle here is that when you pick something up, you breathe in. And when you place something down, you breathe out. This might be you having maybe you have some small weights in your hands or a couple of soup cans, and you're doing some stress exercise on your bones or something for your muscular strength, right? And so you're bringing that up and in. And then as you place it down, you are exhaling. Now, doing that with weights might make more sense. But there's something here about inhaling as you pick up the glass. You can exhale, and then you can take a drink. Take a breath in and place it down. This is something that will really help to slow you down. Will really help to slow you down. This, I'm thinking of stairs, escalators, places that may cause nervous tension in people's bodies. And this is an important part of tuning into and creating a frequency of calmness and harmony in the body. And that is matching the pace of your step, the pace of your movement, the nature of your movement to your breath. This, I'm thinking, so when I walk, when I'm doing a mantra practice and chanting aloud, usually aloud in the forest, I love to do that, I am aligning my breath with the pulse of the mantra. Bada nam nagu bada bimala jasu joda yaku pada chari buddhihinu. So when I'm walking, I'm aligning my step, my breath to a pace that feels like I am in rhythm. Some of these you will have practiced before, and you will understand how important this is. Now, this is one of the reasons why I suggest at least half of your walks per week. You do it alone and you do it without your dog, or if your dog is off leash, that's fine. So that you can tune into that amazing frequency of walking and be in the rhythm of your own body. So you align breath with movement. It's very hard if you have to talk and engage in conversation and be involved with somebody else's energy. You know, I'm a little bit of an oddball in that way. I've talked about it before. I love walking in the forest. And I find it so annoying when I pass groups of people that are chattering away and they're so noisy, and I don't know. I don't get it. I think the forest is such a sacred place. I really, really love this. Okay. Hi, Perry. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to give you a couple of other movements that are really, really helpful. I'm going to move the candles so I don't whack the candles. And when my yoga room becomes available again, I will transition in there and I will show you some larger movements. Okay. Okay. And this depends, of course, on what your mobility is. So I'm going to start with my hands on my lap. I do have a few obstacles in the way. And as I breathe in, I'm going to expand my arms out to the side and breathe in. When you are ready to exhale, ideally you get your hands together overhead. And as you exhale, press your hands into your chest, into Namaste. When you are ready to inhale, you can extend your arms out front. And when you're ready to exhale, release down the side. Okay, fingers may touch the floor. Inhale overhead. Press the palms together a lot. Feel this in your chest. Feel this in your hands. Exhale, exhale. When you are ready to inhale, you're going to interlace and extend your arms out front. And when you're ready to exhale, you're going to release and let go. And again. Remember what I said about integration. Just pause. Just pause. Okay, so we're going to do that again. Inhale, extend the arms out to the side. Exhale, lower the fingertips to the shoulders. Okay. I suggest closing your eyes, but you can keep them open to start. We're going to move the elbows back. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Now, if your eyes are open, close your eyes. Be aware of the shoulder that is doing more work. See if you can let that shoulder soften and let the other shoulder carry more of the energy so that your shoulders are rotating evenly. Do one more. Inhale and exhale. Integrate. Okay, now we're going to do that the other direction. So go ahead and inhale and extend your arms out to the side. Exhale your fingertips to the shoulders. Okay, this time we are going to go forward with the inhale breath. Your elbows may or may not touch. And then exhale. You're going to feel your shoulder blades, maybe your shoulders, click, 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 click. Exhale. When you're ready to inhale, the elbows go forward. And exhale. Now imagine, what's your favorite oil? Olive oil, jojoba oil. That's what I imagine when I feel or I hear or finish the exhale and then release your hands. Clicking, excessive clicking. Because I know for some people the excessive clicking can be quite alarming. Is that bits of bone? Is that cartilage that is broken off? What is that noise? What is that discomfort? So, first piece of advice is that if you have excessive noise, clicking, discomfort especially, that you're going to back off a little bit and you would do fewer rotations and the rotations would be smaller. Same principle applies when you're circling your wrist. The size of the rotation will depend on your mobility, but the principle is the same. You're inhaling and exhaling for each rotation. And you're always going to move in both directions. And you may choose to take your integration after you've gone in both directions or after each direction, okay? Over time, with these breath and movement, as over time, as the breath and movement practice is practiced, the noise and sometimes alarming sensations that you have, that will go away. It will. And when we are doing that in hips and other joints as well too, that can be quite shocking, the amount of air and perhaps little bits, particles of waste that you have in your joints. And the idea here is that with breath, we begin to flush the joints. So this is a really important benefit of breathing with movement. You can imagine when you're doing tension and relaxation, inhale, exhale, and as the tension is released, it is like it's a flush, it's a clearing of the energy lines, it's a clearing of physical clearing of some of the waste that is in the body. And so this is just a little taste of how very subtle movements entered into, acted with breath and intention, can become movements of healing. Okay, and that's all I'm going to offer for today. I'd like you to take some piece of this and incorporate it regularly for the whole week and see how that sits with you. Okay, and if this has created any stress or you can feel there is muscular it's too much muscularly for you, then you're going to rest for the next day and you're going to try it the day after tomorrow. All right, so you want to pace yourself and do this very slowly, step by step. And if you have any questions or concerns, please write in the comments below and I will get back to you. Okay? Thank you. Take good care of yourselves and breathe. Namaste.